Good morning, guys. We are going to finish up section 3. This is chapter 1, section 3, and we previously talked about distance between points, and today we are going to talk about the midpoint formula. So write this following definition in your definition section. Write this: midpoint of a segment is the point that's halfway between the endpoints. So we can draw a picture of that. Have a segment, and that would be the midpoint. So if this is point A and point B, point A and B would be halfway between the two, so I can use these tick marks to show that segment AC is equal to segment CB. C is halfway between the two. All right, midpoint formula in the number line says if segment AB has endpoints x1 and x2, remember those just mean the first x coordinate that I see and the second x coordinate that I see. Doesn't matter what order they're in, the first one that you would like to use and the second one. If I want a point that's right in the middle, I'm going to find their average, which means I am going to add those two coordinates together and divide by 2. So let's say that this is 5. So I'm at 5 here, and I'm at 11 here. If I want the point that's halfway here between the two, I will take x1, which is 5, plus x2, which is 11, and divide by 2. 5 plus 11 is 16, and then I'll divide by 2, and that would put me at 8. So this is 8 on the number line. All right, time for you to try one. All right, you can pause the video and try this example. All right, now that you're back, hopefully you were successful working this problem. Principal Peters is hanging a new school plaque that is 10 inches from the left, so we're at 10 here. Hopefully you labeled it 10. From the left side of the wall, how far from the edge of the wall should she mark the location for the nail picture, for the nail that the picture will hang on if the right edge is 48.5 inches from the wall. So from the left side wall. So this is 10 and this is 48.5. Right, we want to be right here in the middle somewhere. Right, so let's do exactly what we did before. We know midpoint is x1 plus x2 divided by 2 on the number line. So let's make 10 be x1 and 48.5 be x2. So 10 plus 48.5 divided by 2. Remember, order of operations, we have to do the stuff that's on top first before we divide. So, because the division bar is like a grouping symbol, so we have to do the numerator first. So 10 plus 48.5 is 58.5. We can get the answer out. And then we'll divide by 2. 58 divided by 2. 2 will go into 5 twice, with 1 left over. 2 will go into 18 9 times, evenly. 2 will go into 5 2 times, with 1 left over. I'll put a 0 there. And 2 will go into 10 5 times. So she should name it 29.25. She should name it. She should hang the nail, or put the nail on the wall 29.25 inches from the left side of the wall. So 29.25 inches from the left. All right, let's keep going. Now we're going to look at the midpoint formula in the coordinate plane. So that means we are putting things in the XY axes. So it looks like this now. We will find the midpoint of a segment. All right. So let's start with point P, points P and point Q. So let's put P here, and let's put Q here. And we want the midpoint of those 2 points. All right. So we want the point that lies right here in the middle somewhere. All right, to do that, let's go ahead and put the coordinates here. Remember, x1, y1, those little numbers are just notation telling me first point and second point. It just distinguishes between the two because this is in general, this is a formula instead of a specific problem. All right, so I want this midpoint M that's halfway between P and Q. All right, so remember what we did on the number line. We took the average of the x coordinates. We're going to go ahead and do the exact same thing here. So the new x coordinate will be the average of the x coordinate for P and the x coordinate for Q. Guess what the y coordinate is going to be? The average of the y's. So y1 plus y2 divided by 2. So remember, the x coordinates are the first slot in the ordered pair, the y coordinates are the second slot in the ordered pair. Alright, so this is midpoint formula. If you have not written down the definition and the formula, you should have already paused the video, but you can definitely do that. Alright. Hopefully you are finished with all of that. Make sure you pause the video if you need to. Don't try to write while I'm rolling here. All right, so we want to find the coordinates of M, which is will be the midpoint of RS. For R, let's see if I can get this to look a little nicer here. That looks better. Sorry. Find the coordinates of M, the midpoint of RS for R at -3, -4, and S at 5, 7. So let's go ahead and graph that. Alright, so I am going to put my marks here. This is the x-axis, this is the y-axis. Alright, so R, I'm going to start at the origin. I'm going to go left 3 and down 4. Alright, and so I'm going to write -3, -4 by that coordinate, and this is by that point. Those are the coordinates of the point. And I'll go ahead and label it R. And then I'm going right 5 and up 7. Right 5, up 7. And I'll put another dot. And this is point S. And its coordinates are 5, 7, X, Y. So I have X1, Y1, and X2, Y2. Again, you could put X1, Y1 for S and X2, Y2 for R. It's not going to matter. Alright, so let's go ahead and write down our midpoint formula. Our midpoint formula says x1 plus x2 over 2 is my x-coordinate, and y1 plus y2 over 2 is my y-coordinate. So the average of my x's, the average of the distance of my x's, and the average of my y-coordinates. Right? So the average, I shouldn't have said distance, the average of my x-coordinates and the average of my y-coordinates. Halfway, midpoint. We're cutting them in half. That makes midpoint. All right, let's go. So -3 plus 5 over 2, taking my x-coordinates, -3 plus 5, and then let's take the y-coordinates, and let's put them right here. So that would be -4 plus 7, y1 plus y2 over 2. And then we simplify. -3 plus 5 is 2, and then we'll divide that by 2. -4 plus 7 is 3, and then we'll divide that by 2. So the midpoint is 1. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 3 divided by 2 is 1.5, or 1.5. So that's the midpoint. All right, now it's your turn to try one. Find the coordinates of P if N32 is the midpoint of KP. Line segment KP. Let's move that little line segment guy over here. Come on, little line segment guy. line segment KP, and K has the coordinates of 1, 5. All right, if you want to pause the video, you can, and come back and we'll talk. All right, now that you're back, let's go ahead and draw a picture of what's going on here. All right, so we're looking for the coordinates of P. We know that the midpoint is 3, 2. And K has the coordinates of 1, negative 5. All right, so M is in the middle of the two, which puts P somewhere over here. But we don't know the coordinates for P. We know the coordinates for K, and we know the coordinates for the midpoint. So let's look at our midpoint formula. Our midpoint formula says that this is equal to the midpoint, which we know is 3, 2. All right, so let's just fill in what we know. Let's make this x1 and y1. So that will replace this right here. So let's do that. So that makes 1 plus x2 over 2 and negative 5. Okay, let me get that little string mark off. Negative 5 plus y2 over 2 equals 3, 2. All right, this is the x coordinate. We are going to set the x stuff equal to that. So 1 plus x2 over 2 equals 3. And let's go ahead and solve that. To get rid of the denominator, I'll multiply both sides by 2. So 1 plus x sub 2 equals 6. 3 times 2 is 6. And then to solve for x2, I subtract 1 from both sides. So I know the first part of this is 5. All right, now let's work on the y coordinate. So now I'm going to take this guy and set it equal to my y coordinate. So negative 5 plus y2, y sub 2 over 2 equals 2. That's a lot of 2's, isn't it? Multiply both sides by 2 to get rid of the denominator. Yay for getting rid of fractions, right? And this right side will be 4 because 2 times 2 is 4. Then how do I get y2 by itself? Add 5 to both sides. Yeah, good job. That gets rid of this. So y2 equals 9. So 5, 9 is the coordinate of, are the coordinates for point P. That's the ordered pair for that point. All right, guys. Talk to you later.